Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. Today I will be doing a brief demonstration on the measuring equipment that was introduced in this unit. I want to go over with you our measuring spoons, the liquid measuring cups, as well as the dry measuring cup. So first we're going to start off with properly measuring our ingredients. One thing that we want to make sure we're doing whenever we're following a recipe is that we're following it specifically, making sure that we're paying close attention to the difference between a teaspoon as well as a tablespoon. And so we're going to start off with our measuring spoons right here. This is just a set that I had that comes in a half a teaspoon, and then we have a teaspoon, a half a tablespoon, and then a whole tablespoon. Now, one thing you want to make sure you're paying attention to is, and I know y'all won't necessarily be able to see it, is the measurements that's on there. We want to make sure if it's a tablespoon that the recipe is calling for, that it involves the B, that it has TBSP. And then if it's just a teaspoon, we want to make sure that it's the TSP, because the last thing you want is your sweet tasting cake tasting a little too salty because you use a tablespoon of salt instead of a teaspoon of salt, which I myself have done. So today we're going to be using a teaspoon and we're going to be measuring salt. So I've got just regular salt here and my teaspoon. Now what we're going to do is, holding the teaspoon flat, we're just going to pour our ingredient in. We'll get it over to the top. Now we are going to want to take the back side of a knife, so not the serrated edge, but the back side, the flat edge, and we are going to then push that across our salt, noticing that then it gets to just a level amount. And that is how you measure your dry ingredients in your measuring spoons. So I'm going to pour that over to the side. Now the next thing that I'm going to be showing you today is the dry measuring cup. Our dry measuring cups are going to be very similar to the measuring spoons. You're going to find these in most of your stores, Walmart, Target, as well as a lot of your grocery stores and stuff would carry your measuring cups and spoons as well. So this is another set that I have. This one comes in a 1/4 of a cup, and then we have a 1/3 of a cup, which right here. Then we have the 1/2 a cup, and then we have a whole cup. So I've got my 1/2 a cup right here, which is what I'm going to be using. And I've got some just all-purpose flour right here. And so first I'm going to do is I'm going to measure just a heaping amount, maybe not quite so much, a heaping amount. So you'll notice that if you can see it okay from the camera, you'll notice that it is over the edge some. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, once again, the back side of the knife. So we're taking that flat side, and I'm going to push in that extra. I know it's difficult for you to see. I'm going to see if I can angle this down a little bit better for you. There we go. And I'm going to then just follow through across the top of my measuring cup to get off any excess flour that we have. So now we have our smooth 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour ready to go. Now the next thing that I'm going to go over with you is the measurements of our liquid measuring cup. Liquid measuring cups look very similar to something like this. Mine is a glass 1 cup. They come in all different sizes, and then also a lot of them come in plastic as well as glass, which is this one that I'm using. Same thing, purchased at the same place that you'd be able to find your measuring cups for your liquids or for your dry ingredients, as well as your measuring spoons. Now, one thing that we're going to want to do, so I am going to tilt the camera down, is we want to make sure that we keep our measuring cup sitting on a flat surface, because what that's going to do is allow it to get a good reading on it. Now, you're measuring usually for liquid, you would be measuring maybe some liquid oils or egg whites, anything that's a liquid. I'm actually just going to be measuring good old sweet tea because I like sweet tea. I'm going to turn it facing me, so I've got my 1 cup reading towards me. And then I'm going to pour the sweet tea just directly into the measuring cup until I believe I'm pretty close to the 1 cup line. Now what I'm going to want to do, I don't want to pick the measuring cup up because it'll get an uneven reading on it. So what I'm wanting to do is I actually want to come down to the measuring cup level, and I'm going to see that I am right at 1 cup. So we are good to go. I've got my 1 cup measurement down. Now one thing I want to remind you of is, like I said, following the recipe, making sure that you're following it exactly. Making sure that you're paying close attention to the difference between a teaspoon and a tablespoon. But I hope you have a great explanation today of the 3 basic measuring forms that we've used in this unit, which is our measuring cups, our measuring spoons, and both those measuring cups for the dry and the liquid. Thank you so much for joining me.